Here are 9 wardrobe items I always declutter. And when I declutter them from my wardrobe, my style gets better. Over time, I've developed so much admiration for people who have a very edited wardrobe. I think it shows a confidence and a certainty with your style that you don't wear everything. You wear the things that you know you look best in, the clothes that you feel amazing in, and you get rid of all the distractions that are complicating your style and your life. So in today's video, I'm doing my yearly wardrobe declutter, if you will. I've looked through all my clothes, just making sure everything aligns, making sure I'm going to genuinely wear these pieces. And here are the 9 things I always declutter. I didn't learn all of these from this declutter. Over the years, I've seen patterns, and this declutter just reminded me of these pieces to avoid. Before we get started, and you needed a little bit of motivation to go through your wardrobe, here are some things that I think decluttering really changed for me. It creates a lot of mental clarity to look at my wardrobe and see my style. No distractions, and it makes it easier to get ready. Having a smaller wardrobe improves my eye for styling. It forces me to try things I wouldn't have otherwise tried. The final thing is that you're literally just going to look better, you're going to feel better in your clothes. Because when we edit out all the distractions, you're left with the pieces that you feel amazing in. You're gonna wear them more often because you have a smaller wardrobe, but you're gonna feel amazing more often in those pieces. So it's kind of like a win-win situation. Something I'm decluttering this time round are clothing pieces I wear once in a blue moon. Once every so often. And the reason I'm getting rid of pieces like this, for example these jeans, is because it signals to me that I don't actually like this item that much. If I really loved it, I would wear it way more often. If I really liked it, I would style it in different ways and make it work. But I clearly do not like it that much, and therefore I can find them a better home. These are 2 incredible pairs of jeans, insanely beautiful in quality, and someone else is going to wear this every day. So what it does for me, getting rid of items like this, is that it cuts down on my decision fatigue. Right now, if I have multiple pairs of jeans, I feel so overwhelmed by choice that I'm like not wearing any of them. But if I have fewer pairs of jeans, I actually feel more inspired to reach for them and to make the few pairs and my favorite pairs work. This is a category of my wardrobe where I want to be more considered about, because it's easy to buy things that technically fit well, technically look nice, but maybe I'm just not as excited about them and I'm not in love with the pieces. They don't feel like something I treasure, they're just kind of there. And this is how I end up with more clothes than I need. Buying things that technically work, but I'm not in love with. Something I often declutter are very popular items that are kind of iconic to a certain time. I recently got this newsletter from Net-a-Porter, and it was about 10 of their best-selling items over 10 years. And as I look through that list, a list where I've made a lot of mistakes and I've owned quite a few of those things, it really got me thinking that popular items often date the quickest. Remember this Cole Gaia bag? Remember this J.W. Anderson Pierce bag? So I actually really like all of these items, but I ultimately think they are so tied down to a period where you really need to make sure it is 100% your style. Otherwise, if it was just kind of your style, you will get rid of them once they feel a little dated. There is no pressure at all to keep up with trends. But I think when something is dated, it often is like a wake-up call for ourselves to judge whether we truly like this item. If you truly liked it, you would still wear it, of course. But often, I wake up and realize that I was just into it because of the trends. It really takes a critical eye and just a lot of questioning consideration before a purchase to decide whether those popular items are the right ones for us. If you're ever in doubt, if you're not quite there in your style yet to be 100% certain, I would recommend choosing an option that is less popular because it will not be so tied down to a period. This tip is really not about trying to keep up with trends. This tip is about how sometimes when something is popular, our judgment gets a bit clouded. We think that that item is our style. We truly believe that at the time. It's only in hindsight we realize that it wasn't really our style. So when you go for less popular items that are less trendy perhaps, they will usually be a lot longer lasting in your wardrobe. I try to avoid these iconic items that are very, very tied down to a particular period. Let me know if you agree with this. Does it make any sense? I'm just spitballing here, trying to share things that will help us both build a more timeless, longer lasting wardrobe and avoid decluttering pieces we've spent money on. In my most recent declutter, there were actually not that many items that I had to let go of. And the big reason for this is that I have not been shopping the sales this year. I am someone who grew up with the mentality that if something is not on sale, you don't buy it. This attitude that I only buy things when it's on sale is actually a really great mentality to have, because you have something on your wish list and then you're waiting for it. You have time to consider it and then you buy it at the best time. That's actually the way to do it. But when I started shopping the sales for the sake of it, when I started going through looking for deals, that was a bad decision. And I know this because every item, literally almost every single item I've purchased in the sales, I have decluttered. As I look back, there are a few exceptions, and the exceptions are brands I really trust, like Doen. The exception are like pieces I had on my wish list. For example, I bought both of my Loewe puzzle bags on sale, both 40% off. But considering how much sale shopping I have done over the years, the amount that has retained is pretty low. So this year I decided that I'm no longer gonna shop the sales for the sake of it. I'm not gonna look at the outlets on Net-a-Porter, on like Farfetch, and just go through searching for things. It's a terrible idea, and I've definitely learned that the pieces I buy here do not last. The reason is, these are usually designer items that have cool details. They're unique. They're in the sales because they were too unique for someone to justify at the original price. But you know, you take 50% off something that's very expensive, it's still kind of just too expensive for a very statement piece. Sale shopping also has this urgency to it, like there's 3 left in stock, so I need to make a decision now, and that is not the way I want to approach my wardrobe in the future. The most ridiculous thing that I do when it comes to sale shopping is that I will see something very expensive in the sales and think it's a good deal just because I'm getting 70% off, but that was money that I would never have spent on something had it been full price. There's definitely some psychology of sale thing happening here, but less sale shopping means that I've decluttered so much less. In my most recent declutter, I've been getting rid of a lot of basics, and specifically they're basic pieces where they're not as functional as I wanted them to be. So how do I figure out what basics I need, what basics are functional in my wardrobe? I like to firstly look at my key pieces. These are the items that I feel like a wardrobe should be centered around. And then basics are to fill in the gaps so that these key pieces can be easily worn and restyled in different ways. When I have clothing items that are kind of basic, but they don't fit into the functional category or into my key pieces, that is when they often get decluttered. My example is this polo knit and this polo sweatshirt. These are both lovely, and I am sure someone else would love wearing these, but when I style it with my key pieces, it doesn't really work for me because it makes it too put together, too preppy, compared to like a basic sweatshirt or a basic t-shirt. And then they're not exciting enough for me and not aligned to my style enough for them to be key pieces. So neither here nor there, and therefore I just don't wear it. When simple clothing or basics are not as functional in supporting my key pieces, I never wear them in my wardrobe. There are some things in my wardrobe when I declutter, I have to think long and hard about it, and some things are just mindless. Something mindless I declutter is any clothing item that when I put it on, I don't feel at ease in the clothing piece. So either it's too tight, either something is digging into me, either something is a bit uncomfortable somewhere. And the reason why we should 100% declutter these things is because not only is it uncomfortable, but it changes the way we hold ourselves as well. I often hear and I often read that if you don't feel comfortable inside, it's gonna show in the way you carry yourself. So your posture is gonna be different, the way you walk and hold yourself is going to be different, and not to mention, you're gonna be suffering in clothes, and that's just not the way to do it. So I had this Lululemon top in a stripe. It's based off this Lululemon top I have in white. I purchased a stripe one on sale. It's the same size, but it's smaller. I also wanted to add on here that it's not just sizing, sometimes it's necklines. Like my posture can change with certain necklines. If a neckline fits me really well, my posture is really good. Whereas if the neckline today was like a bit looser and I was trying to like hold it up or something, I started doing really weird things with like my shoulder, and I truly feel like my whole posture changes if a neckline doesn't fit me very well. Shoes is a huge one. I often see like, really stylish women, but I can tell their shoes are uncomfortable, and that is distracting for me. So then I can't appreciate the incredible things they're wearing because I'm distracted by the fact that they're obviously like struggling in the shoe. It changes the posture, it changes how at ease you are, and I think it shows through in your style. I declutter these things because on the other hand, when clothing fits well, when clothing fits like a glove, it honestly makes my movements better. This one is hard to explain, but you know what I'm talking about. You felt it before. And if clothing is doing bad things for my posture, then usually it's in the declutter pile. Something else I end up decluttering are clothing pieces I purchased for an event, for a holiday, or for a specific occasion in mind. The reason for this is that when I am buying for these occasions, usually I'm a little bit rushed, and usually these are emotional purchases where in the lead up to something I'm excited about, I just want something new. But trust me, in hindsight, when I look back, I will have 100% looked better if I just restyle something I already owned. Something that I know looks good on me, something intentional that I have chosen for my wardrobe. It will definitely have been a better choice than grabbing something random in the stores. Again and again, these are the items I declutter because they were purchased without planning and intention. In our wardrobes, when there is planning, we end up with pieces that just feel so aligned to us. I have this Tibby coat that I can't get enough of. I have this Owen dress that I love to wear and to restyle. I have this little blazer I've had for many years and I still love it. I've got certain like accessories that I can rely on. There is a lot of certainty in these pieces because not only have I worn them before, I know how to wear them, I know how to style them, and they feel very aligned. Newer pieces usually do not hold up to these items, and I will always look better in tried and tested pieces. A moment here to appreciate my wish list system. Everything now sits on a wish list, and then either goes from wish list into wardrobe, or I put the items into an archive list of things I wanted but I no longer want anymore, so I can really consider before a purchase if I genuinely want this or if it's not quite right. This wish listing process honestly gives my wardrobe so much more intention. What inspired my most recent declutter was me wanting to get rid of some knitwear pieces. As a knitter, I've been building a small collection of hand knit sweaters over the last couple of years. So now because I can almost like design my own sweaters and then bring them to life, my standard for knitwear is very high. I still love like Cezanne knitwear. A lot of Cezanne knitwear literally meets it because it's very different. It's not that cozy hand knit look, it's more structured. But a lot of other sweaters no longer meet that expectation of what I really want in my wardrobe. So I've become a lot more fussy in this category of my wardrobe. In my wardrobe, the best decisions I make are when I buy something and it's so perfect that I cannot think of what else I want. I have this cream sweater, this one I bought actually from Sassoon, and when I look at it, it's the perfect knit. I don't think I can buy another simple white sweater because this one is so perfect that there will be nothing else I would want in a cream sweater or in a white sweater. That is the kind of purchase I never declutter and I never regret. Whereas the items I do declutter are items that are a placeholder. They tick most of the boxes. They work kind of functionally, but I don't love the details. And when something is not quite right, I'm always searching. When something ticks all the boxes and it's perfect, it stops the search, and long term in my wardrobe, it's a much better buy. So basically in this example, go into your wardrobe. For different sections of your wardrobe, look at what your perfect item of clothing looks like. And then every time you shop, try to match it to the standard. If you look at your wardrobe, at your best pieces, these are usually clothing that's just like at a different standard. Either like the fit is amazing, the fabric is amazing, something is incredible about it. So you want to set your standard of what you buy to this level. It means that a lot of clothes will not make the cut, but that's good because you want only a few pieces to come in, and you want the pieces that are at this level to come into your wardrobe, and everything else to not be there. I have spent so much time talking about how to choose your best colors, but not a lot of time talking about how colors have connotations towards certain style. And this is something I have learned in my wardrobe. So with that in mind, something I end up decluttering are yellows and oranges. The reason is that I think it makes my style more boho, more earthy, more laid back, casual, in a way that is just too rustic for my actual style. As someone with an autumn color palette, I often feel like while mustard, yellows, like rustic orange greens can look good on me, they are just way too natural for my personal style. So I never end up wearing them. Even with a lot of brown tones, a lot of people loved me in this dress, which was so kind, but I kind of looked in the mirror and I was not me. Like I didn't feel like me in this dress. It's in the same way that I really actually like pink, but oftentimes when I have too much pink on, I feel too put together, too fussy, too young in my clothes. Colors have very strong connotation to different style words. So when there is a misalignment here, I always declutter those colors. It's not to do with how bright they are. It's not to do with how good it looks against my skin tone. It's actually often to do with the connotations of the colors and how well that aligns with my style, or how I see my style. The final thing I always declutter applies to my beauty cabinet and to my wardrobe. So in beauty, something I end up decluttering are things that I bought for the sake of it, or for the promise that it gives. I think beauty purchases are the best when I look in the mirror and I want to achieve a certain look, and then I go searching for a product that will help me achieve that look. The worst purchases I don't end up using are items where I see something new and shiny in stores and I just want to try it for the sake of it. I don't even know what I want to achieve, I just want to try it. Those are products that are at the back of my shelf, never getting used. This is actually kind of a way to resist some marketing out there where you look at what you need, you look at what you want to achieve, and then you find out how to achieve it. As opposed to the other way round, where you buy the item and then you slap it on hoping it achieves something. This is actually a big step that has glowed up my beauty routine. Finding inspiration on Pinterest, knowing what I want to do. I want that higher blush, I like that raspberry blush, I like that brown nudie blush, and then searching for the product as opposed to the other way around. For clothing, this means starting from my inspiration and then going to the shop. So I really want to achieve this look, I have a top, I need the bottom. When I start with my inspiration and then go looking versus when I browse, it is such a difference to how curated my wardrobe is. When I just shop for the sake of it, I end up with a bunch of pieces and it's not the vision I had imagined. When I start with my vision board, everything is so much more aligned and I'm so much more inspired by the things I end up with. If we talk about like glowing up, spending our money more wisely, choosing better things for us, this is something that has changed both my beauty and my style. Thank you so much for watching today's video. These are things I always declutter. Let me know what yours are. So I'm going to be making some decluttering content because I am getting ready to move. I'll be moving in about a month, maybe like 6 weeks-ish. I want to take this chance to really like consider what I own and not bring anything that I'm not going to wear into my new space. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I'll see you soon. Bye.